In it to win it.
We're live.
We're live.
Yeah, we're live.
Okay, preheated the oven. Welcome back. This is Willa and Zane's. I'm going to need your top billing now. Willa and Zane's Passover menu. Live on Facebook Live. We couldn't do the Passover Seder that we had wanted to do this year. And instead of just rolling over and saying, God, what she just said, we've decided to make all of the dishes and then show them to you, show you all of our recipes. Yesterday we did pastrami, we cured a brisket. Mm-hmm. Today we had our first episode of the Brisket Babysitting Club. This is you over here.
Coffee.
That went great. The brisket looks beautiful. It's expelling some of its moisture. The moisture is getting absorbed by the spices. Those spices are getting activated. They're going to get soaked back into the brisket. The brisket's going to cure. Willa did a great job of agitating the brisket. Today we're making Kishka. And I love the title that Willa gave it. Kishka with Shiksa. Shiksa is typically a derogatory term for non-Jewish. It is. Really? Yeah, it's not typically what you want. Hey, my favorite Shiksa over there. Typically not. No. But you're my wife. I adore you more than anything in the world, or anyone in the world.
Oh.
And well, you know, you're my favorite Shiksa. So there you go.
If I wasn't, it'd be like it might be a problem.
That would be a problem for sure. We're showing Kishka today.
What is Kishka, first off?
So Kishka is the classic Jewish stick to your ribs. It's the ultimate poor man's food. It's the most basic ingredients that you've got in your cupboard. Okay. It's this. It's a very simple. This is ingredient deck.
Okay. We made this last night. We put all our matzah, our wonderful matzah, in. So we made 2 batches of the matzah, and we stuck it in our food processor. And my secret that I learned from food processing is just keep going. We kept pulling it out a bit too early, so we were getting these really big chunks. And if you just let it keep going for like a full minute, it works out perfectly. So we have our artisanal matzah meal. I believe that's what you call it.
Yeah. It's shmir matzah and handmade matzah. Willa and I made 10 sheets of bake at home matzah. We got this lava stone for our oven that we've been baking it on. It came out beautifully. Funny enough for us, we didn't.
Sorry, I'm just trying to turn the comments on so I can see them and we can try to
talk to people.
Well,
thank you very much for tuning in. If you're back with us, so the whole series we've done beef chop liver. We did the matzah. We cured a brisket, and now today we're doing kishka. And for the kishka, we need the matzah meal, which is kind of why we did the matzah first.
Alan Rigby is asking, does that make it a shishka? Like, I guess kishka and I can't pronounce.
Shiksa and kishka. See, it's a very... Kishka with a shiksa is a wonderful mouthful. Yeah. I was the thing for... don't worry about that. This is a super simple ingredient deck where we use carrots, celery, onions, matzah meal from the matzah that we
You could also use flour, just as a FYI.
And this is kind of a schmaltz. And I say kind of a schmaltz because proper schmaltz is a lovely sort of pale yellow color. You render the fat from poultry, whether it's chicken or goose or duck. I mean, you can have beef schmaltz, of course, too, because schmaltz just means fat. But schmaltz in this case, in Jewish cooking, means that poultry fat then simmered with an onion. And as you can see, or you might be able to see, I don't know what the cameras can pick up there. Can they see that?
It's on a little bit of delay. Yeah, it looks good.
Oh, yeah, cool. So I simmered an onion in there, but this one's kind of dark. And the reason it's kind of dark is that I bought some chicken wings.
Should we put it
and chicken thighs.
A container?
Sure.
So we can see it?
Good call. There we are. I bought some chicken wings and chicken thighs, which are going to go into our chicken fricassee, which we're making tomorrow.
Tomorrow's fricassee day.
So the
I should
fat,
actually mark them on our calendar properly on that one, so that I can look across and we compare. Because I got it wrong a few days ago when I said that we were going to make this.
Wow, we keep getting the. It's part of the fun of live TV. We're making it up as we go along, and Will and I, as some of you know, we're scheduled to make a big Seder meal here in Tofino, and instead we've canceled that gathering, but we are talking to Dwayne at Rhino Coffee, possibly about making a limited number of Seder meals here in town that people could no contact pickup only.
So it'd be a Seder plate, which has your
symbols.
Right. We'll have to figure out what we're going to do about the shank bone, because there's not a lot of shank bones kicking around.
Didn't we buy some bone when we got to the lamb place on Salt Spring?
But it was like backbone. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, but a bone is a bone. I mean, in times like these, folks, you use what you got, and my people like to add as much flavor as possible. So all of those drippings from the chicken that I roasted off last night, brought to a golden brown, the wings and the thighs.
So this schmaltz is a little bit darker. I don't know if we can see it. I'm just gonna tip it gently.
What a beautiful deep yellow color we got.
Yeah.
I didn't want to, again, I used the drippings and so on, and if I took it too much further, it would have given it that burnt flavor, which is less desirable.
Less desirable burnt flavor. No one wants burnt food. And
I'm somebody who, when it comes to trimming vegetables, likes to...
Oh, that's a knock on our door.
Knock on the door, I'll keep going. Keep all the ends and stuff like that. Peels from the carrots, if you're going to peel carrots for any reason. And use as much as you can. When it comes to dishes like this one, where we're going to whiz together in the food processor the carrots, celery, and onions, why not leave on the peel? There's no reason really to take it off, except the fact that you want to wash your vegetables really, really well. And I think one trick that I like to use is to always have an unused, or just for this purpose, scrub brush in the kitchen. So if you're going to use a whole unpeeled carrot, you'll know that it was properly washed. And again, in these days and times, using a special vegetable soap is probably a really good idea. I'm going to, I don't have any special vegetable soap at this time. This is just going to be for our own consumption here, but I think if we did this for public consumption, we'd certainly want to use that. Scrubbing down the carrots with my unused scrub brush. Just using water. Same for my celery. So we're coming to you live from our kitchen. Willa and I are. Just me for the moment. Willa's been called away somehow. In Tofino, British Columbia. At a future episode, we're going to do our lamb for you at Passover itself. I think it's on the schedule for April the 8th on our charcoal rotisserie, which is on our balcony just over here. And when we do that, you'll get a chance to see what I'm looking at here. It's a beautiful place, Tofino is, and I wish you could be here and join us and be able to be part of what we're creating. And I know that in the future you'll be able to. And I look forward to that day, and I pray for that day. And that's really, for us, what Passover is all about, which is the prayer for freedom. And I think that a lot of us, I certainly am in a more comfortable position than I know a lot of other people are. And a lot of people are suffering right now. And we think of those people and our hearts break for them. And if we can be any kind of a distraction or amusement or entertainment during this time that's so difficult for people, we're happy to be that and do that.
What did I miss?
I was just giving a little, this is the principle of Passover and the better
Aw.
next year and the prayer for hope and all that stuff. So I think which is a good way to kill time until you get back.
Oh,
to
that's so
sleep.
sweet. You really waited for me. I didn't.
I
realize
scrubbed
you were doing that.
the carrots. I decided I didn't want to peel the carrots,
Oh, really?
but I used the
Oh.
scrubber from underneath the sink.
Wonderful. This will be our
Vegetable
designated
scrubber.
vegetable brush.
Right.
It's green like a vegetable.
There you go.
Not all
And
vegetables
I
are green.
did I did the celery as well. Peeling an onion is a pretty easy thing to do, but we can do some of this on screen as we get the processor ready. We're going to put all the vegetables into the processor
Okay.
to whiz them all together. We're going to add the matzah meal that we made from the matzah, and then we're going to add the schmaltz.
Okay. Do we add them through the?
So the vegetables, yeah,
We'll chop and we'll
exactly.
and we'll put it in the bottom and then we'll just add the rest of it as it whizzes.
Exactly.
Okay, that's cool. I love it. I'm gonna move this a little bit this way because I think our Instagram friends will likely need. Let me just switch.
Instagram friends.
I know, I got it.
So we're actually broadcasting this live on Instagram Live with our Feast of Fino page and on the Facebook Live page on my own personal page. And we want to thank everybody for tuning in. This is the 4th demo that we've done. We did a chopped beef liver, which I think was mostly just me. You were hiding behind the camera.
I enjoy hiding behind the camera. Good times.
Well, all this wouldn't have happened without you. So, no, seriously. We've been talking about doing videos for how long?
A while.
A while.
A good while. A good long while.
And, a crisis situation like this that...
So, when you save stuff to put in soup stock, you're not saving these skins though, right?
These
ones
dry
go in
skins,
the-
no. I wouldn't save these for sure.
Okay.
Good call. We keep a little organics bin, and the Bradshaws have a compost pile down by the churchyard.
Don't tell people the secret compost pile.
Oops.
Its name is Marjorie, actually.
The compost pile's name is Marjorie.
At least it was when we were growing up.
Wow.
From the name of the trash heap in Fraggle Rock. The trash heap has spoken.
That's awesome. I'm sure a lot of people out there think it is too. So this recipe calls for 1 large onion, and these onions are all, I think, on the smallish to medium size side. I think this is, to me, 1 large onion. If we need more, we'll have this one to back it up.
Sounds good.
And
We're cooking by feel today. This is how Zane cooks. It's not how I cook.
we'll post some kind of recipe afterwards. So we use 2 celery stalks, and we have.
So is that as chopped as we want the celery before we add it to the processor?
That thing's just gonna pulverize it, right? So
Yeah.
I think so.
Okay. We're
Carrots
using
might be
this blade. We only discovered recently snaps into place.
That's true. Shh.
We discovered that last night.
That's right. When this happened, be very careful, folks. I'm kidding. That didn't actually happen.
So hopefully yours snaps into place too, because moving blades is never.
Not cool.
It's minorly dangerous. Okay. I'm gonna stay away from your knife as you're chopping.
Thank you. Now the camera now. See, I put the tape down on the floor, so now we know.
Well, out of camera, you're out of camera Instagram style, but not Facebook style. They're two different worlds.
Kids today, they're different worlds. I love it. The onions, we will give a little more help too.
So everything's going in. I'm going to move this out of the way so you can actually see what's going on. We'll bring the matzah back, I promise. Free matzah.
That was so cool, making our own matzah. I really feel like I got a better vibe on the holiday just from that experience. The idea of having to make it in 18 minutes. The urgency of that situation, and this is what
that's true.
so the Jews back in ancient Egypt were on the run, and but these ones we will keep for the
Yeah.
stuff.
So what's the difference? And maybe you don't know, but I'm gonna ask.
Go
anyway.
do it. Put me on
What's the
spot.
difference between
I'll make it up if I don't know.
matzah and manna?
So manna, I believe, is the stuff that
Like manna from heaven, right?
yeah.
Like it just appeared and they ate it
right,
when they were in the desert.
right, and didn't they bang the rock too hard, and then that was the thing that happened. Well, so matzah was the bread that they made when they were on the run from the Egyptian army, and they didn't have time to let the
Right,
the
so
bread
they were
rise.
already free by the time they got the manna.
Yes, they were walking in the
okay.
desert,
There we
and they
go.
were that was the
There we go.
miracle
That's
food
the
that was
difference.
provided
Okay.
for.
We're gonna whiz this?
Yeah, and then we'll add the rest of the carrot as we think we need to. Maybe more onion too.
Okay.
This is my coffee.
This is mine.
So we spent a significant amount of time yesterday using this machine with the matzah that we made to turn the 10 sheets of matzah or so into matzah meal that we were showing you earlier. And matzah meal is an ingredient in Kishka.
So that's what we got right now. Does this look right?
Yeah.
So it's like moderately chunky? Not
I mean,
too chunky?
yeah, it's more orange typically than, but that'll,
We used a lot of carrot?
yeah, I might even see what it looks like with the flour. And once we add some flour to it, we'll get the right
Yeah.
consistency. I think the recipe that we were using looked for 1.5 cups, 1 3/4 cups.
Yeah, something like that. 1.5 cups. We have a 1.5 cup.
But the thing is with using recipes, and funny enough, actually, I was just at the container. So Tofino, down at the end of our street, we're on Campbell Street, and the end of Campbell Street there's some containers where a bunch of restaurants and food businesses operate.
1.5 cups?
I think this we have to put in by hand. We shouldn't use the machine for this. Like,
Oh,
take this stuff out of the machine.
that's so much fun.
and then mix this in
That's
a bowl.
way better. Let's use a nice glass bowl.
Yeah.
Let's put it in here.
Perfect.
I feel like
Oh look, this is a much better bowl to use. And so just before the show, I dropped off our light box, which is a.
I was actually just gonna scrape it out
Okay.
with a, not with my hand.
Thank you. West,
OUEST, like the French Ouest.
the new artisanal patisserie in town.
Super excited about it.
Jessica and Steve were set to open on March the 20th. So
International. Oh my goodness! I'm tearing up.
yes, the idea.
There's a lot of
I'm getting
onion
it
in
too.
there, and I totally forgot that there was onion in there. Woo. That's a little bit of a. I'm just gonna not try to touch my eyes. Oh my goodness!
I wonder if we shouldn't whiz this onion up as well, the one that we fried up. Because I think adding, I don't know how well the camera can get this, but all of the pan drippings and onions from the schmaltz that I was frying, like what could be bad about adding this to the kishka? I can't think of it.
I can't think of anything, so let's just do it. Let's just whiz it up. My goodness. I want to touch my eyes so badly.
Don't do it, baby. Don't do it.
Oh my goodness. Just
You know, can I say something? It's been pressing on my mind all day.
what?
I coughed during the brisket babysitting
You
club.
did.
And now I'm like apple pie. I can't believe I coughed. Like it's like somebody's gonna knock on the door now and say, yeah, okay, we heard you coughing. You coughed. We were just playing.
It's true.
It's not like that. I don't want
So.
to live in that society.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
Yeah, just. I can't believe how fumey that was. That's pretty good. I Okay, so we're gonna add this stuff in too.
Ooh, yeah.
Why don't I give it to you and you can do that? Oh my goodness.
Pure flavor right there.
I agree. I totally agree. I think it's just gonna add to the. I'm gonna get myself more coffee. Do you want more coffee?
You go ahead.
No, because I'm the only one who's.
3-cup coffee maker. And
Oh, are we on another?
Yeah, you're on a new assignment. So we're making Kishka today, if you're just tuning in. Kishka is a classic deli dish that typically, we were just looking up, I had it on my original menu from the College Street restaurant. And Kishka, we refer to as stuffed derma. And
That just sounds gross.
yeah, so the derma refers to the stuffing itself.
Okay.
And in this recipe, we're actually just making the stuffing. We're not worrying about the derma. The derma always kind of bothered me because either you use a natural casing,
Okay.
and a natural casing is
Intestines?
exactly it's the intestine of the animal. So typically with lamb or goat, which would be an appropriate size for a dish like this, because cows' intestines would be way too big.
Ah.
So you use a smaller animals, and the smaller animals' intestines are fragile, and so these are not the hands of a surgeon. And I always had trouble.
These are. No, I'm joking.
Actually, you have a much better hand than I do at these things for sure. Well, it's a crafty thing. Making Kishka that doesn't explode at the side of the casing was always the challenge that we had in the deli, and we made a Kishka hash. So this kind of dish, I'm going to keep adding this. And actually, we haven't put any schmaltz in, have we?
Nope. And if you don't have schmaltz, you can use olive oil.
You can use any kind of oil. Olive oil is great. Any oil that you have really is going to do the same trick. And that's essentially this absorbs this. And when it bakes, it will release a lot of that. So don't get too alarmed if during the baking process it expels a lot of oil. In this case, we're going to actually bake it as a loaf, and we're going to bake it as a loaf with tinfoil.
Yeah, so when I drew up the recipe, when Zane said a loaf, I imagined a loaf of bread. So I put on the special ingredients, loaf pan, but we're not going to use a loaf pan. We're going to we're going to roll it in aluminum foil, and we're going to put it on. We're probably going to put it in something like this, not with the plastic lid, obviously. So that, because apparently it releases a lot of liquid.
A lot of oil, that's right. So what's going to happen when it bakes, and it's going to bake in the oven at 350. The oven is preheated now to 350. It's going to take an hour to an hour and a half, and to set, and it's going to set up as a log. We've put in about what did you say? 3/4 of a cup, sort of about half a cup.
Yeah,
so
about
far.
half a cup so far.
And this is about the other half, and we're going to let the drippings and so on from the chicken. So this is not the vegetarian style of Kishka, but
So you
it could
could
be.
make it, yeah.
It
with
could
the
absolutely
gravy.
be, for sure.
Kishka is one of my favorite dishes that we would have, and
Did you like it with the
made-
gravy, or did you like it with my mother's
I like it in the
fricassee?
fricassee, but you know what? I don't think I ever had it just with the gravy. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't eat everything off your menu.
So I had a problem early on in the restaurant. When you serve smoked meat and you carve it by hand, you can ask your customers how they want it cut, and that could be lean, medium, or fatty. And because people who would seek out that style of sandwich tend to enjoy that kind of sandwich a lot, typically they would ask for it fatty, which meant that I ended up with quite a lot of lean smoked meat chunks at the end of the day that, you know, would get steamed and then they would cool, and they would get steamed and they would cool. And
I'm just gonna grab a Kleenex to wipe my
are
eyes.
you okay? I think we should add a little bit of salt to this as well.
Yeah.
'Cause
Phyllis says that our Kishka is healthier than hers.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I love Phyllis's Kishka. My mother buys Phyllis's Kishka, so if that's not an endorsement of Phyllis's Kishka, I don't know what is. PG Catering, Phyllis, is that?
Yeah, I think so. Phyllis will tell us if we're wrong.
PG Catering. Look her up on the Google machine.
Yeah, she
Phyllis
does
and
amazing
Saul
work.
are incredible caterers in the city of Toronto.
Get your orders in early.
Get your orders in early, exactly. And it's not that they have a huge staff of people who do it. They do it. And they're
So
incredible.
this is all by feel right now, right? But we have added a cup and a half of matzah meal.
Yeah.
And if you did make matzah meal from your matzah, try to keep it in a airtight container because it does absorb liquid. Just like you should wrap up your matzah, but hopefully you wrapped up the matzah that if you made matzah with us, you wrapped it up tightly to make sure that it doesn't go soggy.
Still need more oil for sure.
Okay, what kind of oil would you want to use?
So what you got?
I have bacon fat, I have butter, I have olive oil, I have peanut oil,
It doesn't make me a bad person to use the bacon fat.
Okay.
And this was bacon that we rendered this morning. We said that we're going to use a cup and a half of schmaltz.
Yeah. No, 3/4 of a cup, but we're just going. We're
Oh,
going.
so we're going to need more matzah meal then for sure because that's around where we were. But the bacon fat will definitely.
This is definitely.
So Phyllis thought that
Shiksa.
Shiksa's Kishka. That's right. Kishka with Shiksas is now a Shiksa's Kishka. Adding bacon fat to your Kishka. Who does that? What kind of animal? Well, this kind of animal. That's right.
Yeah.
So we're gonna add a little bit of salt because.
Salty? Because you have salt is fat is flavor, but salt helps.
Yeah.
So this kind of feels like.
I'd say a little bit more. We're not far off. I would say we're close to the kind of
like
texture that I was looking for.
What? I'm just trying to think of a good descriptor for like a very wet cookie dough. That's kind of it's lumping together pretty consistently. It's not falling apart, but it's not crumbly either.
Cool. I do think, and this is again.
Now you wanted more matzah? Is that what you were saying?
I think this consistency is good. I think the texture right now, this will hold up. We can work with this to make a tinfoil sausage.
So tinfoil sausage.
And the question is, do we want to make one or two?
I say we make two.
I say we make two too.
Okay.
Good call, Kaplansk.
Okay, so divide it in roughly half.
Okay.
Yeah.
No?
Middle. I'm gonna wash my hands.
Okay. I'll wash mine too.
Just to make sure.
That's about half. Making sure is a good thing to make when you're making food, especially if you're going to make it for the folks. Other folks.
So we're gonna form this into a sausage.
Sausage, Kishka.
So does that look about right, or do you want it a little bit thinner? Like how?
Every time we come and wash our hands, we should look and see who's Joanne, pan drippings give flavor. They sure do. And this thing is going to taste great. Max Rands. I've not had Kishka in a long time. I know, Max, me neither. And making it, honestly, since the chopped liver, my clothes have been fitting a lot tighter. And I really feel like I'm kind of taking one for the team here by making all this.
So I've made it more like a rectangle. Does that look about the size of
Moses, Michael, thank you so much for being along. Louise Fox, fantastic. What's that?
Does that look great to you?
Yeah, it's great. It's gonna be more of a round log.
I realize, but
Size-wise, perfect.
size-wise?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's gonna be amazing.
So
we'll get through those. This is great.
So my plan was to...
So this is Kishka, and Kishka is a classic Jewish dish that's typically stuffed inside of a casing, whether it's a natural one, the way we spoke about earlier, or there are also TVP, textured vegetable protein casings that people do use, and they are thicker and easier to deal with. We made our own Kishka at times in the deli, but for the most part, we actually bought our Kishka from others who made it for us. That's great. That's perfect. Well, just lightly. Touch my nose. Then wash my hands.
See?
And
so that's
and it's let's recap. It's flour, celery, onions, carrots, and schmaltz.
I'm gonna find a slightly bigger pan for us to use. Actually, can you do that? I think there's another one down there that we can use.
Yeah. Let's. I forgot to put the pepper. I forgot to put pepper on the first log. We put pepper on the second log.
Okay. We can open it up and put pepper on.
We could.
It's fine.
We don't have to. What did you ask me for? A pan?
A larger pan. The metal one down there? Yeah.
It's a booby trap to fall on.
just
oh,
the
all
knife.
those a bunch of glass plates on top. I'll take that.
Yeah, I feel like this one's just a little bit longer.
Yep. Good call.
Yeah, that fits nicely. There we go. Nice. That makes me feel better.
Very good.
So it's fitting in like that. I'm just gonna get this out of the way so people can see what I'm doing.
Did you pepper it up?
No, I haven't peppered it. Okay.
Well, think more.
Here, you know what I'll do?
There we go. Perfect. Thank you.
No problem.
We actually, if you were paying attention, added a little bit of bacon fat to this Kishka. Why? Extra flavor. The onion that the schmaltz gets simmered in the Kishka. Why? Extra flavor. The drippings from the chicken that we roasted for the schmaltz. Say it with me, folks. You don't have to, right? Flavor, flavor, flavor. Flour, carrots, onions, celery, schmaltz, which is poultry fat. If you don't have schmaltz, as Willa said, you can use any kind of oil.
Yeah.
You can keep it vegetarian very, very easily. And the roasting now for about an hour. So the oven's been preheated just before we began, and at 350.
I just ripped the tinfoil as I was being fancy, but that's okay. I'm just going to fold it over because it's tinfoil, and that's fine. So
this will keep it shaped nicely, and it totally relieves us of stuffing in the casings,
So
whether
true.
we use.
Did you want to pepper this one?
Sure.
Okay.
And when I was at West, Stephen and Jessica
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
sent me with a croissant,
I love.
almond. I wish I paid better attention.
You didn't pay attention.
Like an almond cream of some variety. There's a lot going on.
Sure, you were on a timeline. You had to make it
I
back
was.
here. Or I would have had to start the whole video without you, and it would have been like.
I walked in the door and Will was like, "Oh, that's work."
I'm the worst.
No, you're the best. This is great. I'm so happy we're doing this. So we're making Kishka. We made chopped liver the other day. We made matzah the other day. So the matzah, we made our matzah meal.
These are our
These are
little
two-
lots. And
Now with pepper.
now with pepper. And they're going to release fat. Do they need to be up a little bit so they don't sit in the fat, or does it matter?
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, they are going to expel quite a bit of the fat that we poured into them, and that's what Will's asking. And then that side will get better done. So we might want to turn them during the process. Let your nose be your guide. If you don't have a very good sense of smell, in half an hour, give it a half turn so that it's not only sitting on the one side. and don't try to fuss with it too much because the whole structure is the tin foil itself. After it comes out of the oven, you're going to want to refrigerate the whole thing. And if you're not going to stay tuned for the entire hour that it's in the oven, I'm just kidding. We're going to cut it here. We'll put it into the oven.
Yeah.
And then we'll take it out, refrigerate it, and then we'll use it for the fricassee tomorrow.
We do the fricassee. So there was someone who was asking about the gravy, and we hadn't had plans to do a smoked meat gravy demo because, unfortunately, I think we're going to be making pastrami instead of smoked meat with our brisket.
Yeah, but the beautiful thing here is that we will be able to make a smoked meat gravy at the same time, and the Kishka does actually freeze really well too. So I think making it this way, we can just maybe leave one of them, and we'll make our own smoked meat gravy when the pastrami is out of the oven. If we don't have a smoker to use by that point, and we'll
if there's anyone with a smoker that we could borrow. I don't know anyone with a smoker.
We could probably
sneak a brisket into Little Ronnie's.
You're very funny. This is fantastic. So this is Kishka, and Kishka is now going to go into the oven to roast for an hour to an hour and a half. And
there we go. Oh, did we lower the wrap? We didn't. Oh, but we can put it on top of the stone.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the lava rock will not only regulate the temperature more evenly in the oven, it'll also be a really good surface to bake on and roast on. And
oh, look at that!
Right on.
Oh my goodness. So Wes is going to start making cakes. You were telling me when.
Yeah. So these are they're wedding cake specialists.
Oh my god.
They make all kinds of pâtisserie. Oh, you should hear the flakiness. The streusel on top. That's ridiculous. Buttery. Crunchy. When they gave it to us, it was fresh out of the oven. And we waited so we could share it with you because
Why?
your idea, actually. Now, West is a wonderful new business, and it's one of those people that Jessica called into my radio show on Sunday. She had left a little box, I think we still have it rented someplace, of some of their macarons and some of their little treats with a tag with my name on it, which is such a lovely thing to do, especially during a time like this. If I had a nickel for everybody who said a time like this, and I started talking about her on the radio.
1 second. Alexa, set a timer for 1 hour.
1 hour, starting now.
Also, my apologies for us potentially setting off anyone's Alexas. We've done that while reviewing the videos to set up online. We've actually accidentally set up timers in our own household, so I assume that's happening in yours too. So apologies.
How do you avoid doing that? Just don't use
We just
her.
don't use it. Don't use it. I don't know.
These are so incredibly delicious. Jessica and Steven may be opening for 2 days a week, and they're doing a dessert on the takeout only menu at Shed Restaurant. Jessica was telling me that she and Jay from Shed and Maddie we're cooking up some kind of a dessert drug deal. I mean, just dessert deal.
Okay, we have to do this.
What are we doing?
Noon. At noon, you have to come outside and have the church.
Oh, the church bell's ringing. Yeah.
Church
okay.
bell. Okay.
Okay.
I didn't know if you had that.
There we go.
I will.
This is live Facebook, live Instagram. Thank you so much for tuning in with us today.
How was my mom?
Sweetest ever.
The just FYI, anyone to know, the church bell's ringing today, and I think it's ringing at noon. Noon? Question mark. For the first responders. So she was letting me know that the church bell's going to be ringing, and that's all.
Oh. Cool.
Okay, so we're going to end this.
Yeah, so we're in the oven. The timer's been set for an hour.
Yep.
We're going to pull it out, cool it, chill it overnight, and then tomorrow when we make our fricassee, we'll show you how we'll eventually use it and plate it.
So we got a question about how Tofino will be in September. It's going to be wonderful in September. And Feast, we're planning for October. But September is fantastic. And
so Feast of Fino
hopefully-
is a brand that Will and I own. It's a festival, an annual festival. It's traditionally been an annual festival every May in Tofino.
it's a cinnamon cream cheese double baked croissant.
Cinnamon
That's what the
cream cheese.
It was the cream cheese. 'cause
double baked croissant.
Yeah.
See, how can I remember something like that? Cinnamon cream cheese double baked croissant.
It tasted.
What did I say? Almond something?
You said almond, and I wasn't tasting almonds,
It's
but I just
so-
believed you.
It's so good.
Oh. Awesome. Okay, so we are closing up for the day. I'm just scrolling through to see if there's any more questions. I
Tomorrow
don't
we're
see
making
any.
fricassee.
Tomorrow's fricassee.
We have meatballs we're gonna make. We have chicken wings that we roasted. We have a sauce that we're gonna make. We're gonna simmer the meatballs in the sauce, and you'll see the fricassee that we made today. Willa, thank you. Nothing of this happens without the magic of Willa. I want to thank Jessica and Stephen as well at West for their incredible cinnamon
Cream cheese. Double baked. Croissant. It was so good.
So good.
And
You'll find that they're going to have a chocolate stout cake on the menu at Shed using the Tofino Brewing Company's Kelp Stout. See, I remember that. I remembered some of it. I remember something. And fabulous to have them in town and have them making wonderful desserts. We're going to try and support as many local people as we can. Feast of Fino, as I was saying before the break, was a passion of ours, and we're going to do a series of that of smaller events with Feast. So stay tuned, please, because the Seder was a Feast Tofino production, and Will and I are committed to doing a series of these, whether we do them just online, whether we do them IRL. By September, I think IRL is going to be A-okay. Hopefully.
everyone stay inside and that will happen.
Everyone stay inside, and that'll happen. We'll take our cues as well from the leadership in town, and the people here in Tofino have handled this so incredibly well. We take our hats off to Josie and the team at the hospital. Cam at the radio station has done a wonderful job of getting the
and
word
our
out.
sister community of Equalit.
Clued as well. Noel has been Mako Noel, Mayor Noel, Mako Noel has been done an incredible job, and they're great people down there as well.
Yeah.
So,
So same bat time.
yeah,
Same bat
tomorrow,
place.
11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're going to do our fricassee using the Kishka, and we're going to use some of the matzo meal in with the meatballs. You'll see it all tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 2 p.m. in Ontario. That's 3:30 in Newfoundland.
Yay!
Thanks for joining us.
Okay.
Love you.